Welcome to the first part in a new series for Workers and Resources Soviet Republic. And in this series, we're going to start taking a look at the campaign option, which was introduced as part of the 0.9011 update. If I just click on campaign, you'll see that there's two campaigns at the moment. I think there's a promise of a third. But unfortunately, to get to the one that I really want to do, which is the Soviet Revolution, we've got to do a new republic is born. Now, I did consider doing this off camera, but I thought, well, it is a tutorial and it could be interesting just to do it as a series. Hopefully, we'll be able to get through it really quickly so we could get to the next one. Now, before we get into starting this, I just want to point out that this is not a replacement to the 5-point series. This is a what you could call an irregular series that's going to run alongside. And I think it might be quite interesting to actually just go through it and see what it's like. And I think also it might give me a bit of help because obviously this is going to have to be a scripted campaign, and I'm very interested in scripting and see how that could be used in future scenarios related to maps. Anyway, that out of the way, guys, I'm just going to click in. It says New Republic is born, and what you see is, unlike the normal start, it goes straight into a pre-prepared map. And while it's loading, I'm also going to mention that I haven't played this at all. I've kind of looked at it and thought about it. I did watch a little bit of somebody who was actually doing this, but I didn't watch it that much. It says, New Soviet Republic has been born. Greeting, comrade. I am Nikolai Mikhailov, second secretary of the Communist Party. I will guide you to build the greatest socialist republic with Soviet Union's outstanding building architecture and factory designs. But first, basics. Look around the map and controls so you can understand our game standards in the Soviet Republic. Oh, there's a bit more. Close this window. Find the first objective. Okay, so what we're basically doing is just got a thing, so we'll just kind of get through these. Middle mouse button, zoom in. Middle mouse button, move around. WAS. Is it WASD? Yep. X and C, two that camera keys which I don't use very much. You can click on the mini map in the camera and fly to a place where you decide to be clicked. That is just basically, you can just go like this, which is the method I normally use. You can also return, change the position, and then we can just close the mini map down again. So we've now got another pop-up. It says, great work, comrade. We have two new neighbours, Soviet and Western countries. It's clever to start building near customs houses for easy and cheaper import and export. Advise you to mostly trade with Soviet customs houses in rubles and strengthen the Soviet Union however you can. Also trade with Western countries, and it says, but you have less foreign exchange reserves in dollars, so it's better to save them for special Western vehicles. We'll just click that. Oh, okay, we're off across the screen. There's customs house. This is a customs house on the Soviet border. There are more customs houses on each side of the map. To start trading, you need a road and railway connection to the customs house, and then you can send vehicles to sell the goods. You trade with rubles on the Soviet border and with dollars on the Western borders. Currencies are separated and cannot be exchanged due to the Soviet restrictions. To get more dollars, you need to sell the goods to Western. For anyone who's completely new to the game, you can see at the top here there is actually two currencies in the game. The left-hand one with 10 million rubles and the dollar one with $2 million dollars. So see, thank you, comrade, for your intention. I hope to continue your education about how to successfully build a socialist paradise. You can start another course or get advice from me or from my colleagues. Regards. Okay, so what we got to do? Right, so this is the tree structure, and you can see, and this is for the first campaign, and obviously you've got to work down, but you can see we've got to get through the first two and then it branches out. I think this one on the left hand side is farming. That looks very much like I can see a red cross and a flame, so I guess that's hospital and fire. We've got that's got somebody holding the red flag, so I say that's got something to do with loyalty. Could be wrong. And the one on the end, I've got absolutely no idea. Oh, well, we got one down at the bottom here. So there's quite a lot to do in this campaign. Although strictly speaking, it is a tutorial. What we got to do now? Oh, I think what I've just meant to have done, we've finished the first one, haven't we? That's it. Okay, so we've got to move on now. So it looks like you can break out of this anytime you want. It says Urban Planning Basics. Greetings, comrades. I am Mikhail Veselov, Chief Architect and Planner of the Soviet Republic. I will show you how now the basic knowledge you should know when you plan a new city. In the bottom of the main screen, you can find the main bar where you can find all that you can build. From the infrastructure to building and various decorations. Now, before we go down there, I just want to check something. Where's the mods? Yeah, I've switched off the mods so they don't confuse you by having mods mixed in with this, because obviously this is purely vanilla. Let's start with some road networks, create some basic grid. Build at least 750 meters of roads. Remember that you will later place buildings, so keep enough free space between the roads. So build 750 meters of road. Okay. Let's just turn on that. No, it's not going to be any good, is it? So we're just going to have to come in here. It's basically telling us to build an asphalt road, and then we'd build one anyway. So I think we're just going to shove a road out here. Well, I would just go the full 750. Speed it up. Obviously, we got the seasons. Wait for the road to build. 763. Oh. First, our city will need flats for our citizens. Build any residential building. Important to get the flats for at least 500 people. While you build the buildings, you will notice that automatic road and footpath connections are created so you can walk in distance to nearby buildings. It's important to do that. I would say that, what's it indicating? We've got to build flats for 500 people. It's kind of pointing at this here. There's 157 workers. Now, I think I'd like to... I don't want to crowd... Top tip here for anyone who's completely new to the game is never crowd the custom shed, because especially when there's a rail connection, because you're going to need that space to get to be able to kind of expand and grow your empire. I think I'd like to put about 6 of these buildings down. I think no, it's not lined up. Just have to freebase it. I think we're put 2 back to back like that. And actually we'll put 1 here. Of course, if we press, then we'll flip that back the other way. And I think we'll have that. Actually, we'll put. Oops. Basic needs of every citizen are food and meat, clothes. Let's build a shopping centre, small or big one, where citizens can find all their needs. There are some small stores available. Please sell clothes and let small groceries, both of objective. Important for upcoming objectives. Keep in mind that the shopping centre requires a road connection to supply goods to the future. Yeah. I think what we'll do is I'm just going to do a little bit. I'm just going to slow it down. I don't think it's time critical. We'll just build you there. Actually, what I'm going to do, guys, is be a little bit sneaky here. I know I've got red citizens in here because what's happened is that the game has auto-populate on. I think what we will do is we'll just plan a... It's saying a small shopping centre. I think we'll put a small shopping centre just in there in the middle. And then we'll just drop a road down there. There. And road a bit close. Sometimes you don't want the roads to be too close to them. Thank you, game. Let me move you out of the way just for the moment, please. I need to get my citizens kind of connected to the store. And we're going to need to put a few footpaths in. Actually, can I minimize that out the way? Yep. So we're just going to build, let's go straight for asphalt. Go across to there. I don't know if you saw that, but the population suddenly went from there to there. They took a shortcut. It says we now have a shopping centre, great, but now let's ensure that all our citizens' residential buildings have access. In some residential buildings are too far away that may make shortcuts for footpaths. If citizens don't have food, they will starve and they will get unhappy and sick. If citizens are too unhappy, they will escape from a republic. If they get too sick, they will die. Shops need goods to sell by default. The shops are set to purchase resources by money. You will pay for the goods, but also for delivery. These goods, according to the distance to the western and eastern border. Listen to our supply shops. Later, we will supply shops with their own goods. Right, let's think. What is needed for a prosperous, happy society, right, and is alcohol. Let's build a pub and all pubs, same way as the shopping centre, ensure that all residential buildings have access to it by foot. Note that when citizens visit pubs, they drink alcohol, they will become addicted. Alcohol increases happiness but decreases health. It's up to you to decide if you will provide alcohol for your citizens or not. Still, you can increase health by in different ways. Also, important, also a pub requires a road. Okay. So obviously they want us to build a pub, so we're going to build a pub. My instinct is put the pub over here. So we're just going to drop the pub in. Now the thing about pubs is they do increase happiness, and pubs are very useful in the early game when you're trying to get your happiness up. But of course, like they said, there is a health consequence with respect to a pub. Therefore, what can happen eventually is that your population will get unhealthy, and when they're unhealthy, obviously they can die, because health affects what's called lifespan. And I think for anyone who's new to the game, it's very important that when you play Workers and Resources Soviet Republic, to actually understand that all the different elements in the game are interconnected. So then don't ever treat like happiness or loyalty or health as some separate parameter to be managed. They all interact with each other. So, like for example, if your happiness falls, you can reduce your loyalty. The loyalty will come up later on. But and as happiness falls, what can happen is that your productivity can fall, because every citizen has a productivity as well. So citizens with low happiness have low productivity, and if the productivity gets too low, even though you've still got quite a lot of population, what can happen is that your industries become very inefficient, and then once your industries become inefficient, then that knocks on to other parts of the game. So some citizens may like to participate in the sport. We'll build some playgrounds. Some sport increases health for your citizens to ensure that all residential buildings have access to walking to it. Note in case citizens' requirements such as alcohol, sports, and culture are not fulfilled, they will become less happy. Also, the preference is to do this activity will be decreased over time. So you can, for example, provide only sport to citizens, but they will be unhappy but first, but later they will be content to do this single activity when they will not demand to do any others. That gives the impression that you can get away with just only providing sport. But there's a bit of a sting in the tail related to that, in the sense that a lot of these facilities like sport, alcohol, there is a bit of a cap on happiness. So truthfully, if you want to build a successful economy, you've got to provide virtually all the elements here. Oh, I'm going to build a football ground. I think we could probably tuck the football ground up. And one thing you can do is just tuck the football ground on the corner here. And what you need to do is just make sure everywhere is covered. Now, another aspect of a football ground. Why are they all walking out here? Probably because I've destroyed it. Now, another aspect of a football ground is that a lot of these will close in winter, but that's on the higher levels, I think, because at the moment I've got no idea what level we actually are on. Let me just have a look. So we're playing small easy, so basically the population is going to stay happy no matter how much we abuse them. There's no energy, no water management, no waste management, no maintenance. We got a day-night cycle, seasons are disabled, building fires are normal, global events are disabled. Well, there's not much actually going on here, is there? Pollution's enabled for some strange reason. Education is simple. Crime is disabled. Traffic simulation is simple. Realistic mode is obviously disabled. But strange enough, research is enabled. That's a bit of an odd configuration, but it must be related to the script. So it says here, what we've got to do now, last demand will provide to citizens is cultural enjoyment. Let's build a cinema. Later, you can also build a radio or TV station to focus on the culture that will replace the cinema and other forms of cultural advice. Again, this gives the impression, if you're a new player, that you can build cinemas, but you can get away with just radio and TV in the late game. What I would always recommend is that when you build, especially when you're building very large towns, you always need some form of cultural pleasure, because that can actually affect your overall level of happiness. Because one of the key things you do need to do in this game is keep your happiness as high as possible. I think we can get we'll put the cinema just up here, get that built. I think what we can do while that's being built is just gonna slide a asphalt path down here. We'll just connect it in these in across here like that. Speed that up a bit. Build the cinema. And actually, while we're looking at this, okay. Oops, we've got monuments. Just want to have a quick look. Just shove that up over there. Oh, so yeah, so we are running on auto purchase, which I knew anyway. It says here, every Soviet republic needs loyal citizens. Higher loyalty means citizens will react less to negativity when there are problems. Wherever loyal citizens work harder, they have a higher productivity, and overall it brings a lot of benefits. There are many ways on how to increase loyalty, but what is needed from the first step is to build some Soviet monuments that glorify the ideals and bring security to the loyalty of our citizens, at least on some basic level. Build at least 3 monuments. Now, if I come up to here, you can see loyalty is part of happiness, and it's quite important to understand that loyalty and happiness are interconnected in this game. So if you've got low loyalty, that will drag down your happiness. If you've got I think as if your happiness gets down to very low, it will then drag down your loyalty. And of course, loyalty will also have an impact on how can I explain it? Loyalty will also have an impact on whether your citizens stay or leave. I think we can get now these monuments. What you can see here is that monuments have a certain percentage effect on loyalty and a distance, so which is 145 meters. So, for example, this monument will cover this area, but it probably won't cover that area up there. So what we'll do is we'll just drop a monument in there, one in there, and I think what we could probably, it'd be nice to get one just tucked in the center here. Yeah, we can just tuck one in the center there. Now, the other thing that's about religion. Okay, we'll come back to religion. I'm still talking, please. The other thing about when building monuments is monuments will only increase loyalty to a certain level. I think it's about 40%. So don't even bother spamming all these monuments all over across the map, because they won't lift the loyalty to very high levels. At the moment, loyalty is running at 60%, I think. The print's a bit small. Yeah, 60%. So technically, these monuments won't have a major effect on your loyalty at the moment. So that loyalty won't increase. And then again, it might, because we're on simple model. Apologies, I've played realistic for so long that I probably don't know the parameters for when playing at this level anymore. It says religious sympathy is something some of our citizens may have. When you are starting your game, on the map. Where old cities are present, they usually contain churches where the citizens can pray. Whether there is no space in the Soviet society for God and religion, we should also suppress any religion. Therefore, we're not going to build any new churches, but it's up to you if you preserve these existing churches and let citizens pray there, increase their religious level or if you choose to demolish all churches. And that is quite correct. Okay, thank you. I'll come back to that, please. Yeah, there is nothing in these menus for churches, but there are modded churches if you really want to put religion in there. Now, what that statement was referring to, if you come into population statistics here, I want to talk about a couple of things. One thing is buildings like this. But one thing what I want to do is just talk a little bit about this. So if I click on the flat here, you see that the capacity of this flat is 157, but that is active age workers. And this is a bit of a point that can cause confusion to some new players. The actual workers in this area is 658, but the actual population is 869, which is if it's shown up here. So don't take this figure at the top as your number of active workers as such, is it? But don't look at this number here and say that's how many workers I've got, because technically you don't have that number of workers. What you've got is at the moment is we've got 658 workers with a population of 869. The rest of the population is made up with babies between 0 and 6 and children between 7 and 21. Where it says over 21s, these are where was an indicator that you've got a capacity problem. So what you've got now is these bars. The one I want to show you here is this religious bar. Now, if you don't have any churches, eventually this religious bar will sink to zero. That also applies to alcohol if you don't have any pubs and other resources. So these will go, but the ones you've really got to pay attention to is happiness, food, health, loyalty, and clothes. If any of these bars start dropping low, then you've got really serious problems. So moving up to here, what we've got to do now, make sure that there is enough people in our republic and that they will take care of them to invite enough workers so that they will fill current residential buildings to at least 90%. So what we've got to do now is start here. And what this is about the fact that you can invite residents in. So we'll just go round. You can do this. Now there's actually two types of, there's two main types of immigrants you can invite. You can invite them from the Soviet Republic, or you can invite them from the Third World. Be warned, if you invite Third World immigrants, they have no education, so you've got to educate them first before you can actually use them. Just do that one. Go to this one. Now another category you can invite in here, these are far more expensive. These are highly educated workforce, and certain builds. Well, I just don't know. Okay, I've clicked on babies. I need to get back to there. Yeah, if you want to look at who's actually in these buildings, you can click across here. So, for example, that we got 133 workers in here, and because we're recruiting workers at the moment, they come in there. But if you want to see how many babies are in there, how many children, so we got 40 children in here. That's quite a lot actually. and these go up to we got children aged 20, and then what we get is 21-year-olds here as well. So we'll just keep going. Just go through here. Just get up here. Probably going to need a lot of population anyway later on. Okay. So let's make sure your workers have taken care of purchased goods in our store. So each of these resources have filled at least 50% capacity. Remember that if you overfill your store, it will be a single resource that will not enough for others. And if we, we'll do the pub first. No, we'll do this. So it's ensure that you have enough goods in your stores. Now, what this is about auto purchase. Now, one trap you can fall into this game is the fact that you look down here, you'll see that if I take that off, you effectively you can fill this completely up with food. This balances the available storage between four items. Meat store is always separate. Now, this is quite an important concept to understand with respect to a warehouse, because if you don't turn that on, you can fill a warehouse up with one good and then there's no room for any others. So what we got to do is the other thing I want to talk about is auto purchase. Now, auto purchase is great if you're starting off at a low level, but be aware at the top here it says cost of delivery per ton is 2 rubles. Now that cost, as it says below here, cost is calculated according to the distance from the border. So when you're first starting out you want to use auto purchase, near the border it's cheap, but as you move away from the border this can become very expensive. And that also applies to manual purchase here as well. So what we got to do is right. So we're just ensuring that there's food coming in. But what you'll see is we've now kind of degraded the ability of the clothes. But clothes, the way your residents consume your resources, the two fastest ones, well, the food is the fastest, often followed by meat. Clothes gets consumed a lot slower, and electronics even lower. So we now got to do alcohol. So just come up here. There. So got quite a boozy convention here. Okay, so thank you, comrade, for your attention. I hope you learned how to build your city and how your hand at any time to need me. To access the government icon on the left panel, get advice from me. Regards. Okay, so we've now got to move on. Yeah, this is basic agriculture, which probably get, and then we've got emergency, Soviet University, and coal mining. I think we're going to do emergencies now because we're already quite some way into this video. Now what I want to do with these videos is parcel up the basic things into kind of cohesive units. So we'll do emergency first. Here, I am Kirill Prevrov, here to guide you through the importance of hospitals in the Soviet Republic with focus on public health and well-being. Hospitals stand as pillars of care and compassion, safeguarding the vitality of our names and our citizens. Okay, the hospital building services are a crucial hub for the healthcare of the Soviet Republic. While not every citizen may have walking access to the hospital, efficient bus and train connections may also be established, ensuring the easy, convenient transportation for citizens seeking medical care, thus promoting a healthier and stronger nation. So to build a hospital, hospital building serves as a crucial hub for the healthcare of the Soviet Republic. While not every citizen may not be walking to the hospital, efficient bus and train connections, it's just repeating what I've just said. So we've got to build a hospital. Hospitals also have ambulances in them. So what we could do, if I want to just sneak a asphalt, okay, we're going to have to extend that road a smidge past like that. And what we'll do is, because hospitals need a road connection for the ambulances to work, and what we're going to do is we'll put the ambulance hospital down here. I'm just going to try and zoom out a bit. Let's make sure that we've got full cover. Yeah, I think we've got full cover here. Actually, we could probably got full cover here actually. I think we'll just put the hospital there because we're gonna have to build a fire station. A hospital requires an educated workforce for doctors and staff with basic education, as well as a fleet of ambulances to provide efficient medical care for citizens of the Soviet Republic. So as you can see, we've already got enough doctors and we need ambulances. So if we click on here, what you'll see is this is buildings that require educated staff have this mix between the number of staff and the number of doctors. The other thing also is that this is a full complement of staff. This is a full complement of workforce. You can use this button up here to decrease it, to push out more people, but we do need to buy some ambulances. 1, 2, 3, 4. We only need about 4 ambulances. Well done, comrade. The hospital is now operational, equipped with dedicated doctors and staff of ambulances. Our citizens will receive timely, quality medical care. I advise you to keep an eye on the health level of our people displayed at the top bar of the screen, monitoring as their well-being to allow. Okay, well, we know that. So okay. The next thing is we need. But before we go to the fire station, I just want to show you the health bar. This is a separate thing, and what this does is it lists the requirements of what has an impact on your health. And so you can see good food, alcohol reduces health, sports increases health, pollution reduces health, and you can see there's a percentage there. And what that does is it actually increases average lifespan. And then what you've got on the right hand side, next to where it says the little guy with the walking stick, is it tells you how many people can't get to the doctor. And then below that you actually get a breakdown, and you can see whether lifespan is increasing, whether health is increasing. So that's the good thing. That's what you're looking for, because the longer your lifespan, the more you get out of your workforce, and of course, more importantly, the healthier they are, the more that you will be out working. You can see the ambulance has just gone out to go around. Now below that, what you actually see is a breakdown of what's affecting health. So and apologies that you can't see the small grey text, which is to the right of the red text, and you can see that because there's a number in there. It says that we've had 1 stroke and 1 heart attack, and we've got 272 people who are having negative effect from drinking alcohol. So whenever you see these breakdowns, it also applies to happiness. When you don't worry too much about the red percentage, the key factor is the number of people, which I know you can't see because it's in light grey, is the number of people affected by that. So that's quite an important stat. So we'll go here now. It says, I am Fedor Antonov, Chief of the Firefighters in the Soviet Republic, with extensive experience in fire safety and disaster management. I'll be your guide for setting up an operational fire station, implementing the effective fire prevention measures. Let's work together to ensure the safety of our people. Okay. Fire stations are vital for the safety of the Soviet Republic, as they have fire trucks ready to respond quickly to fires. When there's a firefighters rush to the scene and to put out the flames, prevent buildings from collapsing. Right, we're going to build a fire station. Now, fire stations, like hospitals, have a range. So if I come out here, we go up here, you'll see that the roads turn yellow to indicate the range of the hospital, and that also applies to fire stations. So you don't need to build a fire station on your environment. But what you do want to do is try and build one where it's the workers are within walking distance. Walking distance is very important in this game. When you design towns and cities, try and get key things connected. In fact, we could probably do it this way and put this fire station on the main road here. Yeah. And as you can see here, walking distance can go up to 358 meters, but there's a little bit of a twist in the sense that how far they can walk depends on the quality of the roads and footpaths. So, for example, if you build functional station, we need fire trucks to be ready. Okay, I'll come back to the footpaths in a little while. We got a fire station here. What you'll see here is that until you actually buy fire trucks, 1, 2, 3, 4, and what you'll see is fire stations are, I think hospitals might be similar, but fire stations are fairly unique in the sense that the number of employees relates to the size of the fire truck. So oops, thank you. Appears that the fire has started. Yep. And what we've got now is, oops, let's close that. I'll come back to the fire truck. So you've got a fire here which has been triggered, and what you'll see is that was pretty quick actually. Whoops. Can you minimize that, please? Now, what happened there is when a building catches fire, you lose the details of your building. So technically, a factory that's on fire can't produce anything because there's no workforce. You can imagine the people evacuating the building. So that's something that you do need to kind of take into consideration. So that is the way it goes. But back to what I was saying is that your actual workforce in here is dependent on the number of fire engines. If we go back to here, you can see that each fire truck needs 23 people, So if you go 423 is 4692. So so if you want to, I mean, you can reduce the workforce here, but what you're effectively doing is making your fire trucks ineffective. And again, you can see the range cover there from that perspective. So if you put 2 fire trucks in, you will only have 46 workers in here. So the game automatically scales between the two. So we've now completed that. Let me just check something. Right. New Republic is born. Okay, let me just see. I click there. Oh, you can come back here. And then we can click on the next one going forward. I think this is where I'm going to leave it because I've got a suspicion that these are going to get a bit more complex. And I want to do these as self-contained units. So we'll just let the fire trucks go back. And this is where I'm going to wind up this first video. You can see we've got lots and lots of workforce in here. We could probably... What I'll do is... Oh yeah, I was going to talk quickly about footpaths. Now, roads and footpaths, let's do footpaths, have a walking speed. So what it means is that if, say, you build a mud footpath like this, like that, residents walking through here only can travel 50% speed, which means the distance they can walk is shorter. But if you're doing a little short connection like that close to a building, it's not that particularly that important. The next one up is a come here is a gravel footpath. I think this is a gravel footpath, isn't it? It is, yeah. Can't see it. But the gravel footpath, you can see it's got a walking speed of 87%. An asphalt footpath has a walking speed of 95%. And you don't get the full walking distance until you get to an asphalt footpath with lamps. That also applies, and I don't know if you noticed below that, you've also got the speed of vehicles. If I come back down to roads here, get rid of this, you'll see that walking speed for roads is reduced as well. So an asphalt road, the walking speed is 79%. Walking speed for a mud road is 50%. Maximum speed is 35 kilometers. Gravel roads are walking speed is 62%. With a maximum road speed of 60 kilometers an hour. So if you build gravel roads, there's no point buying vehicles that are faster than 60 kilometers an hour. And then what you've got here is the ultimate road, which is a street. In fact, we can, just to show you what it looks like, if I put that in there, what you get is a illuminated with street lights. And what that means is that this now has a max speed of 110 kilometers with a walking speed of 87%. So you can actually see here that, and the panel roads is 79%. So you can see that there's an advantage in building footpaths because your residents will never get to maximum walking speed by walking down the road. So for example, what you can do if you want to speed things up, we'll just do advanced. Is we can't get in that connection into there, but that's okay. But what you can do is let's put something through there. So design of your footpath network can be quite important with respect to the thing. And one way you can actually check it is if you build a footpath and just see how people walk around. Like say, for example, we've got a little bit of a connection there. So do that. That means residents coming down here won't walk to the road into here. And you could probably do the same on this side. So there is some mileage in actually putting footpaths. This is a gravel footpath, and obviously the residents reject it. But if I go and just do an upgrade, what they might do is nope, they still feel that they can go back into there. I think the reason for that is that every building has a center point where distance is calculated to. So when the game actually calculates walking distance like this, it moves to that point, as you can see, to that entrance. Anyway, this is where I'm going to leave it. Hope you enjoyed the episode. Hope you found it interesting. In the next part, we will probably do maybe agriculture. We'll work through these as we go. In fact, what I'd like to do is finish the town first before we start getting into industry. But until next time, whatever you do, enjoy your gaming.